Hi, it's Jared with Capture Magic back with another video, and it seems that Disney has finally acknowledged the existence of Epic Universe. I say that half jokingly. They've somewhat acknowledged it before, and Josh D'Amaro is saying that Epic Universe will not cannibalize Walt Disney World Visitation, as he was at a Moffat Nathan conference and was answering some questions regarding directly about Epic Universe. So I find this very interesting. So we're going to read through this article and give some thoughts about what we think about Josh D'Amaro had to say here. At today's Moffat-Nathanson conference, Disney Experiences chairman Josh D'Amaro was asked about Universal Epic Universe and the impact it may have on Walt Disney World. D'Amaro said that he was happy to receive the question. I don't think he was. And especially happy to be asked about Epic Universe following Disney's recent Q2 earnings report. I'm telling you, they're feeling very proud, I guess you could say is a word there, about their Q2 earnings. Again, they had like a 13% increase in their attendance and revenue, and their rhetoric since that report has been a bit different than it was leading up into like the end of last year, going into this year. I feel like they have a different attitude about things since that report. D'Amaro approached the question from two angles. First, talking about how Disney has built out its Walt Disney World theme parks in the past decade, then talking about forward-looking bookings, and here's what he had to say. D'Amaro started by saying that Disney is always on the offensive, not on the defensive.
Are you high?
I will just say strong disagree. It's never struck me remotely to think that Disney is a proactive company doing things ahead of time, seeing trends down the line necessarily. They have seemed very reactive on many different fronts for a very long time. And I think you can look at even the theme parks alone as reacting to the things that Universal has been doing since 2010, and Disney kind of basically doing their own versions, which again, he kind of repaints this a bit here and says he pointed to the expansions and updates at the theme parks, such as Tron Light Cycle Run at Magic Kingdom, Pandora, the World of Avatar at Animal Kingdom, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and the recent Epcot overhaul, calling out Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind as one of the top-rated attractions that Disney has worldwide. So he's not wrong about Cosmic Rewind. It's a great ride. Pandora, I think, is a good land. But to try and act as if these lands were all built by just because they wanted to do it and not reacting to what Universal was doing and has been doing is gaslighting at the highest degree. Pandora was only announced after Hogsmeade came online. You know, Galaxy's Edge, Toy Story Land were announced after Diagon Alley opened. And clearly Disney was reacting to what Universal was doing, even in how they did these lands. Before Hogsmeade came online, you didn't have these immersive lands like that were really being done in theme parks. It was a different way to do it. And Disney, in response to that, did Pandora, and they did these other ones in the same type of style. So to act as if that they were doing this just because they just wanted to start doing it is gaslighting. That is not what happened here, when it actually is the exact opposite. They were being defensive and doing things in reaction to what Universal was doing. But again, it's not surprising to hear them say that, and they're not going to come out and say that we built these lands because we saw what Universal was doing. But if you look at the timelines, it all adds up as to that's exactly what was going on. D'Amaro said that all of this expansion and the projects that are currently underway create a fortification of its theme parks that will bring guests back for years to come. D'Amaro said that if something new is built, such as Epic Universe, and it brings more people to Central Florida, Disney believes that they will not visit without visiting the latest and greatest that Walt Disney World has as well. My question, though, would be, what is the latest and greatest at Disney? Because they don't have any new rides opening, any new, anything like that. The things they're currently building are years away from opening. So he's not wrong, as if there was new things in the parks, people would want to go check that out. But currently there's not, other than shows and parades, and I don't know how much that's going to pull people over just on those alone. I'm not saying people won't go to Disney, but when he's saying that they want to see the latest and greatest from Disney, I think that's usually rides and attractions and not shows and parades. Indeed, Disney executives have spoken in the past on how a significant number of guests visiting the Walt Disney World theme parks haven't visited since Pandora, the World of Avatar, was built. When you step back for a minute and consider that a significant majority of visitors to Walt Disney World are not annual pass holders and not even annual visitors, Disney's slate of attractions added to the parks in the past 5 to 10 years start to look very impressive and even enticing to guests who may have been brought to Central Florida for Epic Universe. So essentially they're saying that the recent things in the past 5 to 10 years will be new to people because they haven't been in a while. But the thing about that, you can make the same argument for Universal also. Like you can make, 5 to 10 years is quite a long time to try and justify that you have these new things. And now there are, of course, going to be things that are new to some people, but the numbers out there about the majority of people or significant number of guests haven't visited since Pandora was built. That's interesting. That, okay, if that's the case, like, are they getting those numbers off of people that have just visited all time, and do those people plan to come back? Like, that's an interesting phrase to throw out there, and especially a 5 to 10 year time span there. That's interesting. The second way that DMRO approached the question was referencing numbers discussed during the recent 2025 quarter 2 earnings report. I knew that was going to come up. In the recent earnings call, Disney CFO Hugh Johnson said that the bookings are up at Walt Disney World year over year. In quarter 3, bookings are up 4%. In quarter 4, bookings are up 7%. DMRO points to those year-over-year improvements in bookings and says that the strong numbers show that Disney's strategy with Walt Disney World is working. DMRO says that Disney isn't seeing any cannibalization at play with Epic Universe coming online later this month. His comments about the bookings are interesting because you wouldn't be running the discounts they're currently running if they have seen these booking increases the entire time. Because again, I've said it many times, you don't run the discounts Disney's currently running if you look at your bookings and your ticket sales and they look great. There would be no reason for you to do that because you only run discounts when you feel like you need to drum up some people coming to the parks. And that's also why, the AP and the annual pass deposit being cut in half, trying to get more annual pass holders, running 40% off of some select dining for annual pass holders. Like, there's a lot of discounts out there, not only just for annual pass holders, for Florida residents and just, general audiences there. So I would be really curious if that number, and I don't have any reason to think it's not true, is up to 5 to 7% in the bookings increase. How much of that has been since the discounts have been announced? Because again, Disney's come under fire for a lot of their pricing, and so if they're offering this steep of discounts, again, $99 for some hotel stays, that's going to get a lot of people to book trips, given that it hasn't been this cheap in a very long time. As that could be a reason people are booking more because they've priced out a vacation before and it was too expensive, and now with the discounts, they make it make sense a little bit. That's possible. It's also possible that people are coming in for Epic Universe and are going to Disney, which I've said that very likely is going to happen on some level. The big question with that is, are these bookings they're talking about, are these people staying a whole week? Or are they staying for just, a few nights? As I've said many times, a lot of people may be going to Universal for 2-3 nights, still going to Disney, but instead of being there for 4 or 5 nights, they're there for maybe 2, maybe 3 days. They're splitting their time potentially, and that would be something Disney would feel. But I have no doubt, given the discounts that they're running, they're seeing increase in their bookings. Again, I haven't seen hotels this cheap from Disney in years. In terms of our thoughts on Epic Universe, I think it's clear that it will have little impact on Walt Disney World in the short term. That wasn't always clear. Epic Universe seemed poised to own the summer, but with odd ticketing rollouts and a possible soft summer ahead, I don't think Epic Universe is necessarily going to come out of the gate strong. Of course, a single summer will not make or break a theme park, and it will be very interesting to see where Epic Universe settles into a Central Florida vacation experience for guests. I think he's right in that the opening time period is not going to make or break whether Epic Universe is successful. And I think there is a lot of people that have been, obviously looking at this park. It's easy to get really excited about it. I've been looking forward to this park. I've been to the park. I love the park. It's a great park, but it does have potential issues, as any theme park is going to in the opening time period, with attractions being down and things like that. So I think a lot of the general public, seeing some of that is a little, perhaps, and we don't know this is just strictly going off of like what people may do, is being a little apprehensive and saying, well, I'm going to wait and see how this park opens before booking a trip. So I don't think Magic Kingdom's going to get hit, but I do think, especially if people are splitting time between Universal and Disney, Animal Kingdom is going to be the park that gets hit the most. And then it would just come into how many days are people spending at Disney if they are splitting time. And because Magic Kingdom is going to get added regardless. That is the number one theme park in the world. So people are going to go there. And then it would come down to like Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Are they going to both of those? Are people choosing? Like, a lot of it, I'm very curious how that's going to end up going in terms of how people, if they are going to Universal and Disney, how, what are they picking and choosing for the parks to do? That I think will be very interesting. But obviously, Disney is kind of back to their rhetoric of a rising tide lifts all boats situation, which they weren't saying for the last few earnings reports. The one, not this recent one, but the one before that, Hugh Johnson had said, we expect a small impact from Epic Universe. But then obviously coming off the quarter two, now they're saying they don't expect to see any sort of impact from it, which I don't know. Nobody has a glass ball. I still contend Epic Universe is going to have an impact on Disney on some level. It's just unknown of what that level would be. How was the overall travel this summer? And how do people really react to a brand new park? Obviously, people that are really into this park and really into theme parks and covering this stuff are going to be there right when it first opens. But I do think a lot of people, given, people are saving their money more, not a ton of discretionary income out there, a lot of people may hold on to their money until this park is proven to run efficiently and smoothly, and then plan their trip. It'd be interesting to see how the summer goes for both Disney and Universal, as the summer has not been a real high, really popular time to go. I've been to Disney around July 4th the last couple of years, and it's not nearly as busy as it used to be, as we've seen kind of, travel patterns change over the years. Does Epic Universe change that? I don't know. There's a lot of questions about that. But if this park really gets all the operations running smooth, you could see more of a surge maybe toward the fall and the fourth quarter, is once this park has proven that, Battle the Ministry and some of these big rides are running effectively and they're not having these issues, people could book more trips. So, if the scenario plays out where this summer isn't as big as maybe people anticipated, the following summer could be that would be the interesting thing to see, the word of mouth about this and how does this trend in the next few years, because again, this park is not being built just for this summer alone. It's obviously going to be around for decades. I think obviously Universal and Epic Universe are going to see a bump in their attendance. I think that's undoubtedly going to happen. So Universal is going to continue to eat into market share when you're looking at Disney and Universal. Disney's feeling very confident. I don't expect them, even if they were worried, to come out and say that they're worried, because they're not going to say that. So anybody that's running a business is not going to sit there and say, yeah, we're expecting Epic Universe to really hit us pretty hard, because if they were to come out and say that, that stock price, investors would see that the stock price would take a hit. It would just cause issues and further questions down the road. So I'm not surprised to hear them seem very confident, especially coming off to that second quarter, that they feel very strong in what they're doing. But the thing that just changes this entire equation is Epic Universe coming online, and what's that effect going to be? And, you can look at back when Hogsmeade opened for Universal, that was a 35-40% increase for Universal that they maintained, and that was just one land. So there's really no comparable thing to look at with a new theme park coming online like this and how this is going to affect overall travel. Obviously, Universal's excited for Epic Universe. The surrounding area around Epic Universe, I'm sure, is going to have a boon from just more people coming in there and being around that park. It's just, is Disney also going to benefit from that? Or are they going to have more attendance or just maintain their attendance? And I've said all along, if Disney's able to get through this and just really maintain their attendance and not take much of a hit from this, that is a win for them, because they don't have anything new coming online for years to come. But it'll be not only this summer, but the next summers, the next 2 or 3 years. How does this park continue to impact them, especially as things get better operating wise with Epic Universe? And then also Universal, what are their continuing plans are. I'm hearing rumors that they have maybe some announcements coming even to Epic Universe sometime pretty soon, as I do think they feel momentum and want to continue to push. Universal's already announced Rip Ride Rockets being replaced. I'm hearing rumors that there could be new announcements very soon about things even coming to Epic Universe. So with Universal, if they open up a new park and then right away announce brand new things coming to Epic Universe and the other parks as well, and really how does this change the landscape? And I think that's the very interesting part, is how will people treat this? Are they going to spend, they're going to end up splitting time with Universal and Disney? Because historically people have spent most time at Disney and spent a few days at Universal. Even if that kind of splits and it's kind of half and half, that's still a win for Universal, as they're just gaining market share in that situation, and Disney would essentially be losing ground yet again. So, nothing in this is surprising. I've heard Iger say very similar things, but it's always funny to me when they act like they were proactive about Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land and all these things, when clearly these were reactions to what Universal was doing, even how they made and designed these lands. Galaxy's Edge would not exist if it wasn't for what Universal did with the Wizarding Worlds, nor would Toy Story Land, nor would Pandora. They would have done some lands, I'm sure. They would have done new attractions, but I do not think remotely they would be anything like how they're these immersive worlds and lands you walk into, because before Universal did that, that was nothing even Disney was doing. That was a brand new thing of taking a single IP and making these immersive lands you can walk into and experience. And that's obviously something Disney saw and implemented in their own way into their parks. And essentially his wording of fortification is kind of telling to me, because that's kind of what you do. I don't think they're progressing. I think they are fortifying or trying to fortify their attendance, while Universal is being very aggressive in eating into their market share. And again, this is why Disney's doing the Abu Dhabi park, and they're probably going to do other things outside of just Orlando, because the Orlando landscape is forever changed. It's not going to go back to how it was 15 years ago where Disney just completely dominated Orlando, comparatively how they are right now. Like, obviously they're still leading the travel in Orlando, but Universal has been encroaching on market share, and they're going to continue to do so, and Universal is going to continue to be aggressive. So Disney's going to try and find pockets in other places where they can have, eat into market share in other ways to increase revenue, as it's just going to become more competitive in Orlando, which I love, because that means Universal is going to continue to innovate, and then hopefully that makes Disney be innovative, create new things, and really competing for the vacation dollars of the customers, and then the customers win in that situation. So I love seeing competition and forcing, the markets to adapt, and really, maybe in this way with competition, it can force Disney to be more sensitive to the pricing, if you will, on how they price things as they have more competition, encroaching and coming in. So it's all very interesting, and this battle is not done this summer. It's going to be something that's just going to ramp up in the decade to come. As the last decade, Universal made up a lot of ground in market share, and I think they're going to take that momentum and really get aggressive in the next decade. But either way, the theme park wars are well underway, and we'll have to wait and see how this summer shakes out. How do the travel patterns go, and how much of an impact does Epic Universe have on Disney overall this summer? By the way, that's going to be it, though, for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about Josh D. Morrow's comments that Epic Universe will not cannibalize Walt Disney World visitation? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.